this is really special. We have poet, icon, legend, lyrical genius, national treasure, a guy that could sing a shopping list and make it sound good. More of a personal story. I'm sure he's heard it before. Back in the late 2000s, I saw George Negus on stage introduce this guy by saying, America has Bob Dylan, we have Paul Kelly. And he's on the Grade Cricketer today. Paul, a very warm welcome to you, mate.
Thanks very much. Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me.
Paul, you've recorded 29 studio albums. You've won 11 arias. You have an Order of Australia medal. You've supported Leonard Cohen and Bob Dylan. What's your relationship to grade cricket?
Not much, but I have played.
You're a leggy.
I have gone down to the nets for the Vincibles for Gideon Hayes' team.
Nice.
In South Yarra, a while ago now, and I also launched one of Gideon's books. Yeah, so that's how the net session came about. I think I got out quite a few times.
Yeah. Do you? Yeah. You're a guy who draws inspiration from everywhere. Did you find that experience of of blokes with part-time jobs turning up to the nets at 4 p.m. any kind of cultural muse for you? Did you get any songs out of it?
Oh well, not specifically, but it's very similar to things in my life. I have a group of guys that I play footy with, Aussie rules. It's non-contact. We just run around doing circle work, that old form of footy training where you just pass the ball, run, and the more you run and lead, you get the ball.
Is that down at?
I can't sort of say if I tell you,
you can't say.
I have to kill you if I say it. No,
cut that, Charlie. No.
No. We wander around. Yeah,
exactly. Up north,
we wander around Albert Park and sometimes the southern suburbs. We're not official, and sometimes cricket clubs. We got chased off an oval the other day because the guy was worried about our footy boots on the oval. So we sort of respect that, and so we're careful, and we move around a bit. We're kind of an anarcho-syndicalist collective, you might say.
I was going to say, we don't belong right out of my mouth.
We don't belong anywhere. But it's a very similar. I noticed going down to and our footy group has a summer. It's a smaller faction. Some of them. They call it the crack, and they have a net session through because we sort of play right up to Christmas, the circle work. Then we have a net session January, February, which always ends in a game. So I've been part of those net sessions as well, but I've sort of stopped that now because I'm just don't trust my eyesight as much without the glasses, and especially when you tell you, I know you've had Tim Rogers on the show, and he's part of our gang as well, and he gets the ball to jump off a length.
Well, he's tall, isn't he? Yeah,
very handy,
good release
very
point.
Handy bowler. Yeah, we've got some good cricketers down there. So, and I try to bowl my leggies, but I'm having more trouble these days getting them on the pitch.
Yeah. You wouldn't be the only one.
Yeah.
Speaking of eyesight, did you catch the last test? Do you have any thoughts on Australia's top order and how we deal with Jasprit Bumrah?
I think I watched most of it. I try and watch as much of the test as I can. I don't think we've got anywhere. We've got hard to know. Where to go. It seems obvious that we don't have a lot of depth, or there's not a lot of openers and batsmen knocking down the door.
Yeah,
I think Smith. I think there's. I reckon Smith and Labuschagne can turn the corner. They've just got to clear their minds. I think it's all you got to do. And you've got to give the other
Uzi. Usman.
No, the other one.
McSweeney.
Yeah, McSweeney. Sorry, Nathan McSweeney. I think got to give him a bit longer to see how it goes. I think the middle orders, if they get a decent platform, they're pretty in the right spot. So, it's always. I was really surprised when seeing that most people were tipping Australia to win this series easily, because I thought, India have just come off a loss. They're coming to Australia. They'll be fired up, and so I thought it would be an even series, but certainly didn't think Australia were favourites. So they're not favourites now, but of course, again, people sort of. People suddenly think, "Oh, it's terrible, and they say, "Oh, it's great," but it's always somewhere in between. So, and with Test cricket, things can change really quickly. So, and Adelaide, in some ways, a night test is often a bit of a lottery, depending on who wins the toss and what time you're batting and so on. So, let's see what happens.
I like it.
So
You're
we'll
backing
win.
the boys.
Australia will win now.
Yeah.
Australia win the series that we'll never lose again.
Is it right? That's not me saying. Are you saying that?
No. Paul Kelly says we'll never lose again.
That's fine. It doesn't make it work.
You actually said recently that in an interview with The Guardian a couple of days ago, he said, most of the time when I'm writing songs, I'm boring myself. And I wonder if that's how Marnus felt when he was batting in the first innings.
I don't think you could ever be bored, facing,
Boomerang.
it'd be, I just think the courage of those guys, facing that fast bowling. I think sports in general, football again, AFL football, there's so much courage, physical courage, that I think people often take for granted. And that's why, I really don't like it when critics and writers get stuck into players and if they fail you go out there and do it. That's what I say.
If I could ask you like just a really broad question, you're talking there about Aussie rules in cricket, right? And to me, Aussie rules, it's really it's tribalism, right? Like it's in a good sense, I suppose, but it's also family connections and that sort of thing. What do you think cricket is in that regard in Australia?
Getting back to what you're saying before, I noticed with us all at the lower levels of cricket and grade cricket, and state cricket, grade cricket, and all the different forms of cricket, very, very similar things. They're clubs, they're communities, and a great way of making friendships and sort of helping each other through life. I mean, friendships formed through sporting clubs often, take you all through life. You're having kids around the same time, and the kids grow up together around the same time, and so it's really, I think, important glue for society. I mean, I think that's a good reason why people join clubs, because we all want to be part of something that's bigger than ourselves. I mean, it's like what I like about being in a band is we get on stage and we make this sound that none of us could have made on our own. And so there's this, we create this thing that's more than the sum of its parts. That's what cricket clubs are. So I sort of see footy and cricket and the people playing at all levels. I think a lot of similarities.
Yeah.
You might hate this, but I think a lot of people would see you as one of the great diviners of the Australian consciousness. You do transcend a lot of different perspectives on life. You have such an awareness of Australia's history and its present. You're perpetually relevant to audiences, despite because of a really long career. Do you think that sports stars occupy the same place in Australia's consciousness today as they once did? And in particular, cricket. Do you see cricket with the same place in Australia as perhaps, say, in the 80s or 70s, 80s and 90s?
Let me have a think. By the way,
take your time.
This is a very good ginger.
Only the best for PK.
Job done, Pezza.
Yeah.
Well done.
I think something to do with the incredible coverage, sports coverage, and so much media and press focus on players, especially at the top level, that it sort of chips away at the mystique or the reverence, or so. Yeah, I'm not quite sure how to answer that. It's
like in the past, like it feels like as a kid, someone like Merv Hughes, just loomed so large in the consciousness, or Booney, or something like that. You could just say nicknames, and it felt like, and maybe the perception is wrong, and I should have framed the question this way, but like, it felt like everybody knew them, at any kind of barbecue or anything like that, or Lily, Tomo. I don't know if like Cummins and Hazelwood, with respect to them, greats, as they will be and are, have the same cachet at a barbecue, as perhaps they once did.
Yeah,
or maybe,
I know what you're saying.
Maybe footy
yeah.
players in the past, I don't know, Warwick Kappa, I don't know, with today.
Yeah, I think that's part of just the way things have gone generally in society with everything becoming, more in its own silo or in its own niche. I mean, there's so many forms of cricket now. So
Yeah.
I don't watch Big Bash or IPL or I don't get to watch Shield cricket anymore. So I only watch Test cricket. And there's sometimes you sort of start to read before a game and you start to hear about these players, but I haven't seen them before they come into the Test. But in the whole ecosystem of cricket, there's so many players that in back when you talk about the day, say Merv Hughes and Border and all those guys. That was it. There was a Test team. There was 12 guys, and maybe a few others fighting on the edges to get in. So you didn't have all these other names floating around all the time. There's so and so's doing so and so's smashing them out of the park and with the Sixers, and so and so's doing this in the IPL, and so these. I find just following cricket now that often names come up for cricketers that I'm not aware of, so there's and also people. I think Ted, and I don't know the figures, but I think less people are watching, Test cricket like they used to. I think I guess people still keep an eye on it, but there's so many other things to take their attention.
Do you think I don't know if I'm making like clumsy connections with music with cricket, right? But like if we talk about reinvention of the game, cricket would argue that it's reinventing the game to appeal to younger audiences in a different context where we're a bit more siloed, and entertainment dictates that you need to make things faster and sharper and more bite-sized, etc. I mean, have you seen similar trends within music or entertainment, for example, and how have you managed that? Because, you go to music festivals and people are still like, you're the best set, PK. And, you've got people who you're about to do an arena tour, around Australia and New Zealand. Your popularity has remained. Has that been a result of being conscious of reinventing to comply with external trends, or are you just like the essence of integrity and people have found your music?
Oh, there's a couple of questions in that question, but I think live is sort of hasn't changed that much. People still want to hear live music, and again, it's that people want to go and hear music in the company of other people and share it with other people, even people they don't know, but they get that feeling of being part of something bigger than themselves. So, and live shows that I do now, which we still do long shows, a couple of hours generally. That's been like that for a long time, and whether it's in a small club or a sit-down theatre or outdoor festival or any other venue, that hasn't changed that much. But what's changed a lot, which I think is more pertinent to your question, is how you might let people know about your new record. It's now again this. It's much more reliant on social media and people finding out about your record through social media, but then social media is all these incredible. There's just incredible little fiefdoms everywhere. So there's
fiefdoms a
big
good word for it, especially India online cricket. Sorry, yeah.
There's big stars that say a lot of the population wouldn't have heard of them come out and fill up an arena, and they're not getting played on the radio. They're not getting played when on TV. They're not getting written about in mainstream media, but they turn up and there's 10,000 people go to see them. So there's that particular. They've got this online audience that's finding out about them. So it's very different to the way you would sort of promote records in the past.
Are you neutral about that? Like, or do you find that to be a curious development, or do you kind of do you go, oh, that's concerning? Or I mean, we're talking about how the internet kind of warps what we see. You know, what are your thoughts on that, having kind of been part of a couple of different iterations of how you distribute things?
Well, I think, it's always things always change. So it's no point living your life saying, oh, it's not like it used to be. I wish things were like what they used to be. So it's always going to change. I mean, the whole idea of copyright, only came in, 100 or 150 years ago. So you just got to roll with it. I think there are definite concerns with this is probably a little bit sideways from the question, but with social media and young kids and teenagers and just getting addicted to being on their phone. And I think we're going to see long-term effects of that still rolling out. So yeah, I think that's a real concern. But as far as to be able to, I use streaming services for music. So back when I was started out, and I wanted to hear, a Howling Wolf record or something, and I'd have to go and hunt it down in a record store, and they wouldn't have it, or go to a friend's place who had some blues records, and get my cassette and tape their records. I was stealing music from a very young age. So these days, someone says, "Oh, you heard of this band?" And that's great. So you can go. Yeah. You can go and find them easily.
So you don't romanticize the whole having to get on a bus to go to a mate's place or anything. That's great.
No, it's good. I don't romanticize it. I also, when you had to buy it, you heard a song that you really liked on the radio, and so you bought the album. Then you had to like the album. You had to, and you would, because you play it enough times. Yeah. So we've lost that. Where you think, I've paid money for this album, and I'm going to like it. I'm just going to play it till I like it.
There was a gap in between between that and Napster. And I had a mate at school who was great at burning CDs. Yeah, he had the kit to do it. That was his thing. He became a pyro later in life.
I got this mate.
It was real dodgy. Yeah, no, he was a good guy. And he used to burn CDs for me. He used to make little playlists for me. Yeah, that was a nightmare as well. Yeah. So I'm actually much happy with Spotify, to be honest.
Yeah,
and the evils within. As I mentioned before, Pez mentioned before about your sort of iconic sound, and do you listen to cricket on the radio, like the test matches on the radio? Because for me personally, it almost surprises me every summer how much I love cricket on the radio. It must remind me of, in fact it does, it reminds me of times in the car with my dad going to and from cricket games, the steering wheel is hot to touch, the car's sort of humid somehow, you're looking at this endless highway and there's the hum of the crowd in a different city from where you are, right? And there's something inspirational about that. I suppose I romanticize it about a little bit, but are you a cricket on the radio guy, I guess is my question?
I love it, yeah, and have for a long time, as a kid, so I still remember listening to cricket on the radio, Alan McGilvray and...
Right.
Who was that really toffee English one? Oh, there was a couple.
John Arlott.
What's that?
John Arlott.
John Arlott, yeah. Those voices. I still, cricket on the radio, I still, sometimes people might come and visit me at home while a test match is on, and I might, got stuff on. There might be sort of the cricket's on TV in one room and then the radio's in the other room. And go out, make some lunch, have a cup of tea, and the cricket's on. Yeah. So, I love cricket on the radio, and so oftentimes you can't sit down and watch the cricket. So, but the company, the ambience of it, just the sound. And I remember listening to the cricket coming from England as a kid, and late at night, lying in bed listening to the voices coming from Manchester.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
I still remember going to, Lords. I only went to the Lords for the first time last year.
Oh, cool.
And I've been to the Oval before about 20 years ago. Still haven't been to Old Trafford. But, these names are sort of I remember driving in Manchester and driving past Old Trafford, like, wow, it's Old Trafford.
It is like that.
That's cool. Yeah,
next to the football ground as well.
Yeah.
Leeds.
Yeah. When you go to those places, now we're getting really
Wistful.
Yeah, wistful about the cricket. Like I often find because your experiences of them as a kid or growing up is that they're happening very late at night. So the ambience of night time and a quiet house or something, it's you often feel like, to me, like you're stepping into a dream. When you go to the cricket in England or go to been to football in England as well. You're stepping into the TV somehow, and you're like, it sort of makes it a little bit more special.
That's a really great description. Stepping into a dream. That's what it felt like for me going to Lord's last year.
Yeah, that's so
it's like
cool.
people coming here, stepping into YouTube. It
must be.
It must be pretty exciting. Yeah. You're being very cool, but I know this is a big deal for you.
I thought you were nervous.
Yeah. But
I'm going to wake up soon.
I can't believe I'm going to be on YouTube.
What days were you at Lord's last year? Did you see it all?
It was the second day when Steve Smith's made his 100.
Made 100.
Well, that was it.
Okay, yeah.
And it was the day that Lyon did his injury.
Popped his calf.
Yeah.
So you weren't there for the Bairstow Carey thing?
Were you guys there?
Yeah, we're there. Yeah.
I was there with my dad. You could feel the you could feel the febrile nature of the atmosphere on day 1 and 2. That you were there for Carey Bairstow. I'd gone home by that time, but you could feel the din of it. I felt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I was actually travelling on the day that stumping happened.
So you're calling it a stumping?
Yeah.
What's that?
You're calling it a stumping?
Stay in your crease, yeah.
Yeah, stay in your crease.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It was funny being over there because how completely got worked up. So many English people got over it. But,
speaking of arenas, I wanted to ask you, you've got this kind of arena, tour coming up in Australia and New Zealand. So it's August, September next year. Tickets on sale now. You will have played the diviest bars all the way through to, what are we talking here? Kudos Bank, Rod Laver, etc. And that's all over the world as well. Like, how does the sound or the experience change for you? I mean, you're currently sitting in a podcast which is much more aligned with a dive bar, with the cricket we played. We played at a lot of dive bar equivalents, or like what would be the equivalent, like playing at a 16th birthday, and it's yours, yeah. Do you have a preference of where you like to play, or is it you just adapt to the arena that's in front of you?
Yeah, I like I like the variety. That's so being able to play in all kinds of places. They're all. I mean, there's not. In the end, I'm just playing songs and singing them as well as I can, and trying to make just the sound with the band when I do. So there's not a lot of difference, but there are differences. Playing in a bar is different to. I guess I say this another way. People often say, what's it like playing in America as opposed to Australia, or what's it like playing in Europe as opposed to Australia? And there's not that much difference. The difference is more in that whether you're playing in a bar, it's different to a seated theatre. In a seated theatre, people are sort of a bit more reserved and formal, and they're more attentive. In a bar, there's other things going on. People that go on there to meet each other and they're having a drink, and so it can be you're part of the whole thing, but you might not have the total focus of the crowd. Same things at an outdoor festival. Sometimes there's people watching, and there's other people just being there for the festival as a whole. So they're all different, but I guess I like the variety.
As a man with connection to timing, lyrics, tempo, how do you feel about club songs? Especially club cricket songs.
Like after a win.
Yeah, after a win, you sort of stand around in a circle, semi-naked. Someone's thumping a bin with a stump. To sort of set the tone. and it's sort of raucous, right? You know, it's bare-chested men just really expressing their success, you know, on a Saturday afternoon. Just wondering about what sort of notes we want to hit in a club song. You know, is it about like the community? You know, is it about how they've dismantled the opposition? Is it about what kind of alcohol they like to drink? You know, what kind of markers do you think people should hit for a club song?
You mean lyrically as well, or melodically as well?
I guess lyrically, you know, what are sort of the key elements of songwriting there for club songs?
No, I've never really been asked to write one or thought about writing one. I know more of the footy club songs. I don't know many cricket club songs. What did you have songs for your club?
Yeah, I could sing on if you want, but I don't think the club would like me to do that.
Yeah, I'd love to hear it.
No, I genuinely they've asked me not to. Let's just say there are references to a club that I know. I'm not saying I played there, I didn't, but smoking marijuana, having a degenerate alcohol issue, and having lots of sex with women. So they're there.
Oh, right.
There's occasional references to winning cricket games, but largely it's around the matters beyond that.
Sounds like the cricket world is much more degenerate than the footy world.
Most certainly.
Oh, Paul, yeah. I mean, it really is. Yeah.
So at my
you're
club,
just pretending that you play the game and the game is the thing in gentleman Blake.
No. The game's got nothing to do with that at club level. There's a whole set of rules around how you actually succeed in club cricket that go beyond, or have got nothing to do with on-field success. It's what your body looks like. It's the stories you tell in the stretching circle.
How you park your car on the way to the ground.
How you wave to people as you park in the car. You know, there's and how you manage social interactions therein as well. If someone's stealing cricket balls at the club, how do you deal with that?
That's a whole part of life I've missed out on.
Absolutely. You could have an elderly volunteer at the club who has sexual feelings for players and gives you $50, just to help things out. But like there's all sorts of But that's kind of masculinity. I don't think you covered that in Deeper Water song. If there was one weakness, sorry, someone's.
I think I've covered it in Houndstooth Thresh off the new record.
There you go.
It's on the new record.
Belonging still. That's about trying to make threes.
Yeah.
But I mean that's been grist for the mill for us. There's it actually, as much as we have satirized it or have fun with it, there's lots of there's cricket can be such a brutal game on the field. You can have 2 full Saturdays of cricket. If you open the batting and you get a bad decision or you're knocked over early, you've got to find some other things to enjoy about the game, like your teammates or other things that are going on, or creating enmity with the opposition that doesn't exist. So there's more space within cricket, I think, to make things up.
Yeah, I think cricket is the cruelest game
by far.
The finest of margins, and suddenly you've got nothing to do for 2 days. Yeah, and we do actually remember we do have the guys I play the footy with. We do have sort of a version of a club song. It's just we all we don't do it every time, but once in a while everybody just sings the club song that the club that they barrack for. We all sing that. They all sing their song. We all sing it at once. So everyone sings their own club song at the same time.
And how many players? How many people?
Maybe there's 20 or 30 of us, and we say, let's do it.
So you sing it pretty much every single AFL team song.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. Because you're Crows, right? Aren't you?
I'm Crows. Yeah. Don't like that song very much, but
that's going to hurt.
That is a dunk.
Do they
know that?
That's going to hurt. They do now. Yeah.
I don't mind if they know.
Yeah.
I always feel sorry for a team that had Saints in its moniker, not just St Kilda, but any sort of local team, because they just sing Saints Go Marching In. It's everyone. Yeah. It's so it's a good song. Don't get me wrong. It must feel amazing to sing that when you win, but it's kind of done, isn't it? It's like playing Wonderwall, I guess. You know what I mean?
Oh, I think it's great.
It's good.
It connects to
it's
history. And
St Kilda has St Kilda
song.
Cricket Club is we like to be beside the seaside, but I could never intone the rhythm of the song. We like to be beside it was just hard to do. I know another club where actually there was a player who was so musically interested. He played a lot of first class cricket as well. He used to he used to bring a harmonica to ensure everyone was in the right key before they started the song for his own entertainment. You know, before people started striking bins.
Beware the guy who turns up with a harmonica. That's the thing, you know, because you can sort of go into a gig. It's not like you're walking in with a trombone. You just go to, it doesn't happen so much these days, but it has happened in the past when you're playing, like in bars, and someone comes in, they've got their harmonica. Says, "Oh, can I sit in on the harmonica?" Beware the guy. Who sit in on the harmonica.
So there are crossovers.
Yeah.
You've been really generous with your time, PK. Thanks so much for joining us here on YouTube. I hope it's been like a dream for you.
It's just a weird, wonderful dream, and with great tea.
Nice cup of tea.
You're a very special person to a lot of people. We're so grateful that you'd come and spend some time with us. All the best for the arena tour.
Thank you very much.
And I hope this hasn't been the weirdest of all those interviews.
It's been great. Thanks for having me, guys.